Hi everybody, welcome to the stream. Starting in about 30 seconds. Get your comments in. It's Saturday, 23rd of January, 2021. Welcome to the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Just watched Brighton versus Blackpool in the fourth round of the FA Cup, and there was some fantastic live commentary from Tim and Sam, but this is the post-match show analysis. So I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Brighton Hove Albion 2, Blackpool 1. Welcome everybody on the stream. Welcome back again to the Seasiders podcast. It's been an absolute marathon today. We had our first foray into match day live show, which was brilliantly put together by all the team, and Tim and Sam were excellent in the comms team. I dipped in and out, and then I synced up my audio with it, and it was Tim. It was excellent. So you and Sam, firstly, well done for that. It was an excellent show.
We enjoyed it. It's the first time I've ever done it. Sam's done it a few times, and the lion's share of the work was his, but it's exhausting.
I can. You know,
I'm ready for that nap.
You know what do you mean? One like that?
Yeah, that one there.
So yeah, well done anyway, Nick. Welcome again.
Yes, welcome.
We're living together there, isn't it?
I know, it's been a long day. I'd just echo your comments for Tim and Sam. Sam particularly, like you were saying, Tim, his knowledge of the players, and it's very difficult to do that, isn't it? And to keep your concentration and keep things ticking over. And I thought he did it brilliantly. You know, the other watch-alongs are available, but I think that has set the benchmark for me today. It was fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit, to be honest, I mean, well, I just did my usual waffle, but Sam knows basically knew the Brighton players. You know, it might have been the odd one that he didn't quite know, but most of them he was up there as their possession was going through. He was talking about player through to player, and it's a challenging job to do, and to do for the thick end of 2 hours. Every credit to him. As I said, it's just I just come in with a bit of fill the gaps in, really, which is far easier.
You were filling the gaps in on Football Focus as well, Tim, weren't you? For those who don't know, Tim was involved in a piece on BBC Football Focus this morning and represented the town brilliantly, I thought.
Yeah, it was. I mean, originally they'd I think they contacted Christine and said one of the two of us, and she was working, so she says, "Can you cover it?" And of course, obviously, I only work around the corner, so I said, they set up a WhatsApp group. I said, "Oh, Comedy Carpet, best place, because you've got all your little, sort of cliched images, and you can show the tower, you can show down the prom." Little did we know that it was going to be blowing a gale and chucking it down. Luckily, in my section, it stayed dry. But it was challenging conditions for the producer, and I thought he did a very good job. Of I was only there probably 10 minutes, and obviously I thought young Matty as well, who's I think still at school. I think he's still at school, and I know.
Really?
I remember seeing him at a load of the protests. He was always there, and he's only a young lad. I think he's only about 50. Apologies, Matty, if you're older, but I think he's about 15. And and he spoke so eloquently, and in particular that last little bit at the end when they sort of panned out down the beach and he was speaking over it. I thought he did a fantastic job for a young lad.
I'm a young man after your job, perhaps, as the BFC media whore.
I know, yeah. I've got to look over my shoulder, haven't I?
Yes, as Chris Harrison has just said there, media whore. Took the words out of my mouth there, Chris. Right, we do have a game to discuss, and we've got quite a few calls lined up this evening, which is fantastic. Always good to get people's views on. So Blackpool obviously lost the game 2-1. We wanted to get some fans' thoughts on, and the first fan we're going to be having on is Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for coming on again. What have you got to say?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I just I thought, I got obviously I'm watching it from a different time zone, so just getting back early this morning, ready to check out the lineup, and saw all these people out through COVID. I'm like, well, that's not a good start, is it? But considering that, I thought we gave a really good account of ourselves. It looked to me, I don't know if you three thought, it looked to me like we've been practicing that shape all week. It didn't look like it was a last minute change because of personnel. I think we were planning on playing that way. And the players that came in did really well. Tired after the hour, as you would expect. Don't think we made the right move by bringing on all those subs again. Sims, you could argue, was a good change just to freshen it up front. But honestly, I would have kept the shape and kept the vast majority of the players on. Maybe Matty was running a lot, so I would have probably ended up taking him off. But I think just those 3 changes on 75 minutes, just we got hammered in the last 10, 15 minutes, didn't we? I just wonder if we would have got a chance if we'd kept our shape, kept more of the players on instead of making those 3 subs.
Tim, you're always banging about these 3 subs, aren't you? And
yeah.
And again, the formation we discussed in the week, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought the biggest positive from the game was the formation for us. I thought, as I said on the comms, I felt that the players looked really, really comfortable with that system, and particularly as we're trying to patch together a team, and particularly while CJ Hamilton's out, because I still remain to be convinced that system will suit him. But I thought it was good. I thought, and probably, I think I agree with Jeff. I think to me, as soon as Medine went off, I thought we're waving the white flag here, and I don't think those last 3 changes did us any favors at all. A, because we changed shape, and secondly, again, it's the old bugbear. You make so many changes at once. The players that were still on the pitch, I think we're still trying to get their head around who was playing where. And I remember one point that where Garbutt's looking over his shoulder when we've gone to a flat back 4, expecting Husband to be behind him. But of course, Husband's moved into the centre because Thornley's gone off, and there isn't anybody behind him because actually Garbutt's now got to play deeper, and he's not. And there's confusion there, and I just felt that as soon as Medine went off and we made all those changes, that was Critchley saying we're not going to get back into this game, and I'm giving up.
Yeah, to be honest, when they took Medine off, it's like, why not give one of the young lads a run out at that point? If you have given up, it would have been awesome to see Brad come on, or one of the, who else was it that was on the bench?
There was Apto, wasn't there? And this another chap, lad we got from Wigan, wasn't it?
But you're right. When Medine came off, it was really just waving the flag at that point, wasn't it? Because Yates had come off earlier.
And to be honest, I also thought Williams was blowing out of his backside on 60 minutes, and I thought he would have made way. And instead, we have Virtue go off, don't we? And then we've rejigged, and I thought Virtue might have stayed on, and Williams would have given way. After that last 20 minutes, so I thought he struggled a bit. So, but yeah, we're always going to struggle, aren't we? We've got 3 or 4 or 5 starting players out, which I think we probably 5 in total. Although I've got to say, I thought Gabriel did a fantastic job at right back. We know, you're playing a Premier League team, and you're always going to struggle, aren't you? If you've got that, you need your best team out there to really give it a proper go.
Exactly. And if you think about it, you've got three midfielders that don't regularly start. They're the ones putting the the miles in usually, aren't they? They usually do 5-6 miles a game. And you've got the three right in the middle of the park that were just, to your point, they were gassed by 60 minutes, weren't they?
Yeah.
Gassed. I like that word. Nick, you've rejoined us again. Right. Thanks a lot for your points, Jeff. Do call again and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Right. Cheers, Jeff. Moving on to Curtis. Hi, Curtis. Thanks for calling in.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. We're all a bit sort of deflated after that. I think that's my after that second half.
I was reading the Twitter comments, ABFTT Discord as well, and before this game, I sat there. I was looking at it, going, "Do you know what? We're not going to. We're probably not going to win the tie." I saw the lineup and I was like, "Well, almost definitely not going to get the tie." We lost.
What were you like before you saw the 5 COVID enforced changes? How confident were you?
No, I wasn't confident at all.
You weren't? Right, okay.
No, not at all. We're playing a Brighton team that love to pass the ball around at home. We've had to travel all the way down to Brighton. It's going to be hard. We're playing a Premier League team. We're 2 divisions below. We're 16th in the league, so it's going to be hard. And I thought we can give it a go. Let's give it a go. Considering everything that went against us, they missed a couple of easy chances. Let's be honest. It could have been 4 or 5, but in real terms, they scored off. They beat us by a deflection. You've got Williams, who's been out injured for however long, just coming back. You've got all these players that probably weren't expecting to play, are now playing. Jordan Thornley, I never thought I'd see in a Blackpool shirt ever again. I thought he was brilliant. He had a great game considering that he's not match fit, is he? Robson's been in and out of the team. The spine of the team was broken up. We played a different formation. He's played the formation that I think we probably should be playing anyway. You've got Ballard, Gratarsson, Ekpateta that could play in that back three with your Garbutt's and your Gabriel's, going down the wing. Your middle three can be made up of, a Dougal, a Robson, and then maybe a Kai sat in front of him. For me, I don't think Kai's been utilised properly since probably Southend away last year.
What position do you see him playing in? Because it's a big hot topic on here. What is his best position?
I think he's best of a bit of a floating around player behind the 2 strikers. If you play that sort of
Dobby style,
just give him license to roam and do things and move around. The problem is he's quite static when he thinks he's playing left wing. He doesn't really move anywhere. He kind of stays there, and that's why you see him float in and out of the game, because he's not given. He might be given license to roam, but he thinks that he's got to stay there. So I think with players like that, you've got to give them the license to do what they need to do. But I don't think he's had that this season. And I think Tim was right. Where does CJ fit into that? Because he probably is one of our better players. He's been our best performer this season. Where does he fit into a 5-3-2? It's difficult. I think probably, one of my points I was going to make is recruitment this year it feels a bit disjointed. I can understand some of the thought process, your Labalas, your CJs, getting those good players in from the league below. But I feel like the system has almost been an afterthought. We'll fit them in somewhere. And we've got to a point in the season where we're actually 6 points off the relegation zone. I was just looking at it then. I couldn't believe how close we were. We're 6 points off the relegation zone, and we've only got a game in hand off Northampton, who we actually are yet to play in a few weeks. So, it's a little bit worrying actually when you can get quite negative about it. But in terms of today, I think they did brilliantly considering what was against them.
Well, you have to look at their subs, don't you? They bring on 3 quality players who with loads of Premiership experience, and we haven't got the we've taken better players off and brought. To be no disrespect, but I don't think any of the subs that we brought on improved us, did they?
It's worse, if anything.
Yeah, well, I think I've been kind by saying I don't think any of them improved. I think the reality is that we were far weaker when we brought every one of those subs on than we were before they came on, and that's the difference, isn't it? Brighton started slightly under strength and were able to improve the side to make sure they got the result, where we were. I think part of Critchley's thought pattern will be to protect players for Tuesday night, and but with all the players we've already got out, our bench was quite weak, and I'm equally disappointed that we didn't maybe try one of the younger lads, because I think they might well have given us a little bit more than a couple of players who did come on.
Do you think he should have Curtis chucked in a couple of the young guns just to see what they can do?
Maybe one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I think. Yeah, for me, I would. We've heard quite good things about Rob Apter. We've heard things about Holmes. We see him scoring goals on a Saturday morning, for the youth team. What would be the harm in bringing him on for Yates after 60 minutes? Give him 15 minutes with Medina up front. It's not going to harm anything, is it? It's not going to, it's not going to cause any more issues. We're 2-1 down. Let's see what he can do. Obviously, you've got to bring Ellis on as well. I was a bit concerned by some of the stuff that he was doing, but maybe he was a bit overwhelmed. He looked quite. He looked a bit weak. He looked a bit strong, lacking strength. If you're 6 foot plus up front, you should be a strong lad by now. He's 20 years old. So
I read somewhere that someone compared him to Joe Nuttall, which kind of plays into what you've just said there.
But he's playing his first senior game away at Brighton in the FA Cup. It's complete. He's probably out of his comfort zone.
Fire, I suppose.
Yeah, get him back to Blackpool. Get him at a home game or in League One, and we can see what he can do. But we need to start scoring goals, really, don't we? We need to start creating more chances and scoring more goals. And I don't think the current setup of 4-4-2, 4-5-1, the way it's working, it's just not. It's not getting anywhere. So
how would you change things then?
I'd go for that sort of the either 3-5-2 type thing or 5-3-2 with your more attacking wing backs. We've got Wigan and Northampton in our next few games. We need 6 points from those sorts of teams. Really, we can't be coming away having lost both of those games, because next thing we'll be 3 points away from the relegation zone, all touching it. So 6 points is it's a lot of pressure to put on the team. But the fact of the matter is we lost too many games.
It's a worrying statistic, that 6 minutes, 6 points from the bottom. I didn't really realise that, but right, yeah. Thanks for your call anyway, mate. We'll let you go. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Right, over to Matt. Hi, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Hi,
what have you got? What have you got to say? What's your main point?
I think I agree with what Curtis said. With the formation suited us better today, I think. And I think with the players we've got as well in the fullback positions, with Gabriel and especially Mitchell as well, they both seem to struggle quite a bit defensively against some of the tougher wingers in the league. I think playing them a bit higher up the pitch, allowing them to express themselves a bit more forwards, knowing we've got the back three there, definitely would help. And I think we have got, Thornley had a good game today, and I wouldn't mind if he stayed, because I think having depth at the back is, it's important. And we've got players such as Turton and Husband as well that can play either side of the back three. I think with Ekpateta in there as well and Gretchen supporting them. I think going forwards is, obviously, it's been the main issue this season. We're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league at the moment. Yeah. And I think playing a flat three in the midfield with, I don't know, maybe Dougal holding it down with either Robson or Virtue being able to express themselves a bit further forwards, bringing a more creative midfielder in as well that can play a through ball into the likes of Yates. And this Sims bloke, we don't know what his strengths are yet. Looking at some of the highlights, you can only watch highlights however much you want. He's scored. He's got
heavily edited as well. Heavily edited these exactly. Reels as well. Like you always think when you've signed a player, when you look at highlights, you're like, wow, look at this player.
But I think that's the main. It's a big facade, isn't it? You can see all these highlights, you can see all these goals he scored. But if we're not playing to his strengths, it's like Nuttall and Hardy. They're both gone out on loan. We don't know what their strengths are, because they spent last season having to play long ball with Grayson. And this season, they didn't really have a shout in pre-season. We've not got that player in the midfield that can make the difference, and they can play a through ball through to a player or switch out to either wing and go forwards with it. We're kind of playing too much backwards and forwards. That's why we're getting so much possession every game. We're not doing too much with it at the moment. I think that's where our issue lies currently. I think most people can see that. Anyone with a football brain can see that, really.
I mean, Tim, Nick, Nick, come to you. We've discussed this lack of creative midfielder several times, haven't we?
We have, yeah, most shows, as well as Kenny Dougal and Grant Ward doing the centre. Neither of them, are particularly great at getting forward and scoring goals or flooding that ball through, and it is something we're really missing. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we've got 4 weeks left in the transfer window, whether we'll bring anyone in. And just going back to that Sims, like I say, it's very early, isn't it? And for him to come on away to a Premier League team, you take Medina off. I dropped off the stream before when Tim was talking, but I'd have left him on, because without him, there's just no focal point. And I think for Sims, he's going to need time, isn't he? I'm not going to judge him off that today. We need to give him a bit of time, definitely.
Matt, what did you think about Thornley's performance? Because there's quite a lot of comments coming in support of him today.
He surprised me. I think we saw him more in pre-season. He wasn't really that great, I think. But then you've got players like Ekpateta as well, who really in pre-season didn't really perform. People were starting to worry about our defensive capabilities. I think, especially we got smashed 4-1 at home to Ipswich. That was, but that was a turning point for the defence. So all of a sudden, since then, we've had one of the best defensive records in the league. And I think what helps is obviously having more defensive players, and it allows the midfield to express themselves more. But playing this 4-4-2, I mean, obviously, when you've got the likes of CJ on the wing, you can give it to him and you can carry the ball 80 yards up the pitch and score you a goal. Without him, I think, he's going to be out for another few weeks anyway. Without him, playing this 4-4-2 is not going to work. You're going left, right, passing it from wing to wing, through the midfield, back to defence. Not really getting a shout, and then playing one long ball up the defence. This isn't the kind of football that Critchley's coming to play. And I think playing that 3 in midfield, I think he tried it early on in the season with a 4-3-3. That didn't work. Because you've got Yates and Medine obviously playing really well together. I think having them both of them up front together is where it's at. And with the 2 wing backs, you get that support down the wing from the fullbacks. I think, like I said before, Gabriel and Mitchell are more attacking fullbacks. But we've got the depth in the midfield and defence. We were unlucky today that I'm guessing that Dougal and Ward were the 2 players out of the 5 that were away with COVID. I can't see them not playing today for any other reason. But it's just in the attack. We can play the ball around the midfield perfectly fine. We can hold possession. We can control a game. But there's no cutting edge. We don't have that player that can play the through ball. Like I said, I think that's the main area we need to improve, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. If you look at Cliff Smith's comment, there, Tim is basically backing up what Matt's just said. We have strikes, power, and pace. Defense looks reasonably solid, and the problem is no link between the back and the front. And
I think I was going to say the in defence of Sims when he came on, I thought the service from the midfield was shocking. I don't think he got one decent ball in the whole of the time he was on the pitch. Excuse me. I remain to be convinced there, but he's playing with, if we'd seen him a little bit longer with Medine, if we'd seen him a little bit longer with, the better players in the team, then we might get a bit better idea what he's about. There's in the forward positions, I think if you take at the moment, obviously with CJ out, if you take Yates and Medine out of the equation, then we look weak, don't we?
We do. Right, thanks for your call, Matt. We're just going to move on to our next call now. Thanks for coming on, mate. Cheers. Ed, finally, waiting in the wings. How you doing?
I'm here, but yeah.
What's your mindset?
Good to speak to you all again. How's it going?
Good, thanks. Yourself? Are you in a good mood or a bad mood?
Pretty hit today, wasn't it? Just all good shit. Always in a good mood. always dreaming tangerine dreams. Yeah. Free hit today, wasn't it for me? Can't be too disappointed with a result like that. Played fairly well. Interesting to hear some of the other boys' thoughts about it. They didn't think it was scrambled together at the last minute, and I thought the same. It looked like they'd been working on that formation for a few days. Good defending. Thornley, why has he been cut out of the squad? That raises questions about some of the other people that have been.
There's a lot of people saying he's
Hardy. Not all big money. How? Why do if Thornley?
We've lost you, Ed.
Yeah.
I think just to answer the question on Thornley, I think the likelihood is he's on quite decent money. I think that's going to make it very difficult to move him on as well, because he's obviously signed for us from in that January transfer window. We bought quite a few players in, including Ward, and I think actually we did probably play quite decent money for him before the budgets came in. The salary caps in relation to League One. I've seen some. We saw some stats, didn't we, suggesting he was on about $4,000 a week, and I suspect that's not too far off the mark. And he isn't going to get that with another League One or League Two club. And again, I thought he did all right. I mean, I've always struggled with how we can have a player who joins us from a championship club who's played a reasonable amount of games who isn't good enough to even make the bench. And I think today he's shown us that he's got some attributes that we should maybe try and home in on. And I think he could. I still think he could be a decent player for us.
Mm. Coach Critch has been back in touch saying we've got games in hand and players to come back. Trust the process, boy. I think this looks like Raggy's work to me. this
Never.
Come on, Rag.
Anyway, Coach Critchley, at least thank you for listening to the podcast in relation to your decision to reorganise the formation today. And just picking up on the point a couple of the other guys mentioned about, we think we did get some intel, didn't we, which suggested that the team were practicing with Virtue in a sort of advanced midfield role midweek, which suggested that the plan always was to play this formation today. And I think it's something we should try again, and be it Tuesday or whenever. But I think it's got possibilities because we know we've banged on about 4-4-2 because it means we can play Yates and Medine together.
DJ
when
on the right.
Yeah, when the reality is, if you can do it in that system rather than this 4-3-3 that doesn't really work, then let's do that, because we do get sat outgunned in midfield with the 4-4-2 sometimes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Jeff just said there, I think 3-5-2 would work. Yeah, everyone on the stream, how do you think we change our formation now based on these injuries? Do you think we should stick with this formation or look for something completely different? Well, let's go back onto the game itself now. We've just gone through all the callers. Thanks ever so much for everyone for calling in. Nick, let's get back to the game now. We'll just pick out the key points. Obviously, the first point in the first half was on, what was it, about 30 odd minutes, wasn't it, when they'd gone 1-0 up. Bisumo, 27 minutes, sorry. 1-0, absolute worldie. Absolutely nothing you can do about that. But some people have been saying he had a bit too much time on the ball, a bit harsh.
Yeah, maybe if you're being critical, you could say, I think was it Robson who was near him, could have perhaps closed him down. But at the same time, it's an absolute worldie, isn't it? There's no keeper stopping that. Absolutely flew in. And you've just got to hold your hands up sometimes and say, fair enough, it was a decent strike. And if we'd have lost 1-0 to that, you'd say, okay, rather than what happened with their second goal. But yeah, it was a decent strike, but we probably could have closed him down, to be fair.
And Tim saying we stood off. I can't remember pronounce.
Yeah, it was Virtue. It was Virtue actually, because I thought it was Robson. I remember it because on the comms originally I thought it was Robson, and then I saw it was number 17. And yeah, he did him, did he? He did Virtue. He turned it. He dummied him effectively. It looked like it was going one way. Did Virtue, came back, my initial reaction was Maxwell should have done better. But when I saw it back on the replay, I thought, fair play. It's just a great strike. And my initial criticism of Maxwell was unjustified. So I think it's one of those where it's just a quality finish. And I didn't have an issue with it really.
So Tony Lawson's just said you could hit that ball another 10 times, it would never go in. Yeah, it's just one of those things. We've come up against a bit of Premier League class then. Sometimes you've just got to hold your hands up and give that a round of applause and say, yeah, nothing we can do about it. But we did have a bit of a period back in the game, Nick, and came and drew level at 44, was it 45 plus 1? Gary Medine, a brilliantly worked goal down the left-hand side. Garbutt's whipped it in, and Gary Goals has got in front of his man and steered it in a fantastic finish.
Yeah, I think was it Williams who played it forward, and Yates with his little back heel, and brilliant delivery from Garbutt, who I thought was, probably the standout player in the first half. He had that free kick as well, didn't he, where he tested their keeper. And like you say, Gary Goals doing what he does best. And I don't know what we hadn't had much other than that, had we really? They'd had a lot of possession. I think the possession was probably not far off 70% for them.
Was it a free kick or something that we had? dealt with reasonably well.
Yeah. So brilliant finish, and we're going in at 1-1 at half time when we're maybe not expecting to, and thought we might have got a bit of a lift for that in the second half, but didn't really happen, did it?
Tim, what was it like commentating on your first ever goal? By the way, as I told you all at half time, I did a Smith and missed it.
Yeah, well, to be honest, we were saying actually in the build, because obviously just before that they had a chance to go 2-0 up, and I think that would have been game over. And we were saying, look, we need to be in the game at half time. And to be honest, that goal epitomised everything that's good about the way we play and the way we can play, because Yates seems to have a very good ability to spot the unusual, and the unusual being obviously it was a great back heel straight into the path of Garbutt, who had to cross it first time, put it right. The only place really could have put it that was dangerous, and Medine went in where you can hurt yourself, and and got himself in front of the defender, and so it was a fantastically worked goal, and perhaps our unbiased commentary slipped very for a short period, because it was just very difficult not to go yes.
I haven't actually seen it yet, because like I said, I've not seen.
To be honest, it's a great goal. I mean, in some respects, it's better than their first goal, because it was more of a team effort, and it was all one touch. It was a flick back, cross, bang, and I think that showed. It shows what we can do, but when we have everybody on the pitch that we need to have on the pitch. I think what today showed is Garbutt has to play. Whatever you do, Garbutt's got to play. Don't think he had as good a second half as the first half, but part of that he's playing in a very more defensive back four, where he needs to be in a more attacking role. And the only slight thing I would say is I thought, and I actually gave him man of the match, I thought Gabriel had a great game, but I don't think he got forward enough. But again, I think part of this is that midfield just wasn't good enough. I think if we're going to play it, we need Ward and Dougal in there, and we need that creative player who I think we've got to go and find, because I don't think we've got that player yet, and I don't think he's. Unfortunately, I know some people bang the drum for Kai, but for me, I don't think he's consistent enough.
Let's just talk about the winner. Jacko's there in the waiting. We'll bring you on in a minute, Dave. Nick, Brighton's winner came very fortuitously. 59 minutes. McAllister's long range effort, ridiculous deflection off the back of one of his own players, and Maxwell's unbalanced wrong way. Absolutely nothing you can do about it, and rotten luck.
Yeah, that's it. It's like I said before, you maybe don't mind losing to a worldie, but that was tough to take. Completely wrong-footed Maxwell, didn't it? He'd already dived the other way virtually, and he's scrambling back to get across his goal, and unfortunately couldn't get to it. And it's a cruel blow, that's for sure. And after that, I think we started to tire, didn't we? Particularly the players who hadn't played together in the midfield, and then last 15, they had a couple of really good chances where they probably should have put them away. But there's no disgrace in it when you look at the team we had to put together with who we had. It was just a bit disappointing, like we say, with the subs. It didn't really help us, and felt like we were never really going to get back into it, unfortunately.
Because Nick's just alluded to there, we've got subs. You can come in on this next, Tim. 66 minutes. We had Yates for Sims, and then on 76 minutes, this hat trick of subs that they seem to like doing. Virtue, Medina, and Thornley off. Sarkic, Kai and Lorabala on, and it just made us worse, and the game petered out to nothing, and we offered very little threat in the run up to that substitution, and then absolutely nothing after those forward come on.
No, I think it's fair to say that all four subs weakened us, where their three subs, I think they did, strengthened them. So it didn't do us any favours at all. And that's I'm not picking anybody particularly, but I felt we waved the white flag when we took me. I didn't quite understand the taking, because when we were talking about where we would make the subs, I felt if we were going to make a sub, it would probably to go to a 4-4-2, and it would be to take Williams off and reorganise a little bit and maybe try and accommodate Sims or one of the younger players. But it's ended up being a bit of a mismatch for me, where we were changing formation. There was still, we've got a new lad who's never played with us before, and then three others chucked on. I just felt it all looked it looked very, very disjointed the last 15 minutes. And effectively we'd given up, whether by design or just by coincidence, I don't know. But it looked like we'd just given up. And I don't think we presented one more attacking threat from the moment we made any of those subs, never mind all of them.
A question to the panel from Steve Hutchin. If Sarkic isn't fancied by Critch, why not put on the youngsters instead? It's a very good point, Nick, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's one we all made. I think we'd have liked to see at least one of them. I mean, we've not seen a lot of Sarkic, have we? But what we have seen, to me, I'm not thinking here's a guy who's coming on to change the game. I'd have rather seen one of the young lads just play with no fear. Brilliant experience for them, and you never know. The FA Cup is made for things like that, isn't it? A new name and a new hero. Yeah. So I'm just thinking back to the subs. I'm wondering whether with Yates and Medina, he's perhaps got one eye on Tuesday night's game, possibly for bringing them off. But like I says, that it's in danger of being called off with obviously what's going on with COVID. So yeah, Sarkic, he's not one who should be should be involved for me at the moment. He looked a bit overweight as well. But,
look at Jeff's comment there. Would rather have a tired Maydean than a fresh Sarkic.
Well, you're more likely to score a goal, aren't you? Even if Gary Medine's on his last legs, if he gets a chance in the box, like we saw in the first half, he'll probably put it away. So yeah, I don't think he was going to change the game.
Eddie, obviously we're having some tech problems with you earlier, but you've redeemed yourself with that comment. How did Sarkic's shorts not split? Arse the size of a small country. Right, Dave, you're finally ready. How's it going?
Hey, good evening. Sorry about that.
Just putting the blinds down. I thought I'd let you do that first.
Can you hear me?
What did you make of that, Dave?
To be fair, I've not heard the show because I've been on I've been on a Zoom. But we came out with it with our heads held high. Unfortunately, we never really looked going to equalise the second time. But there's quite a lot of positives to come out of the game, I thought. The keeper had a really good game. And just picking up on what you were just saying at the end, substitutes really sort of, the game went a little bit flat. But, we've had a few injuries and the COVID thing kind of helps as well. So I thought overall, I'm quite enthused by it, but a little hint of disappointment that we couldn't really push the game a little bit towards the end.
Yeah. I think maybe we're being a bit too harsh, Nick and Tim. We're playing with a weakened team against a Premier League side that's got a wealth of resources against a team like ours, and we've almost taken them to the wire, haven't they? Apart from the last 10 minutes, so reasons for hope there, I guess. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, to be fair, to lose the game to the goal we did is very disappointing because it's cruel. I think you used the expression "it cruel," and it most certainly was. You don't mind losing to the goal that was scored in the first half, but the shot was going wide to the right of the goal, quite a long way to the right of the goal, and then and Maxwell's, if you see it behind the goal, he goes just to cover it, and then gets completely wrong-footed, and it's you don't like to lose a game to that. So I think there are positives. I think the positives are that we've gone out there with a scratch team and acquitted ourselves well. I just think when we made the subs, I think we could still got it back because they weren't great, Brighton, and I just don't think in the second half, in the way we did I just don't think we went at them in the right way, and I don't think we took the game to them. And if you're going to go into an FA Cup away from home against a Premier League team, you've got to have a go, and we didn't for the last most certainly for the last 30 minutes.
Josh,
that's the disappointing thing about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Josh Melling just agreeing with us there, but with you, Tim, disappointed by the subs. Thought it was an equaliser there if Yates and Medina had stayed on. Do you agree with that, Jacko? Do you think if we'd kept at least Medina on, there's a chance we may sneak one at the end?
Yeah, I would have been tempted to keep Medina.
We've lost him. What is it in South Shore, these internet connections? Nick, do you think we should have obviously kept Medina? I think we've covered it, haven't we? But
would have done.
We would have had a slight chance, wouldn't we, of getting a goal, I think, at the end.
Yeah, and just going back to the Jordan Thornley thing, I mean, prior to today, I'd have said, that's it. We've not really seen anything from him when he's played that's made us think, who's this guy who's done well in the Championship and came with rave reviews. But you look at that performance and think, I'm not saying for a minute he starts ahead of, the Viking, Marv or Ballard, but you're thinking there's a squad player in there if he plays like that every time he comes on the pitch. But from what Critchley said earlier in the week, he's going to be moving on as soon as the right offer comes in. And it's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? Because we knew there must have been a decent player in there, and I think we saw a bit of it today. But it could be his last appearance in a Blackpool shirt.
Tim Cliff Smith, the fact we were disappointed about losing to a Prem team shows how we've come in a team in the club since the dark days. Fair point.
I think, to be fair, I think that the team, ignoring all the politics, I think any Blackpool side in the last 5 or 10 years would always try and give a good account of themselves, and even during the boycott years, we had some good players and had some good performances. But yeah, I mean, I'm just disappointed today that we weren't there with Dougal, with Ward, with CJ, because I think we might actually have won. But it is what it is, and it's been fun, particularly round 3, and we can now focus on the league, as they say.
Yeah. Just to close the game report off, Bison said more scathing. We wouldn't have scored if we were still playing now. Never looked like scoring in the second half.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, it is.
You can't.
Right.
You're right. Right, let's move on to the player ratings then. So, Nick, I'll start off you with the goalkeeper. Now, I know we do man of the matches at the end, but he'd be right up there with my picks. You've got Chris Maxwell, player rating.
Yeah, I think he did well. Obviously, no chance with either of the goals. So, I'm not going to knock him down anything for that. What he had to do, he did well. There's one point where he came out charging out in the second half, but he got the ball and cleared it. I think overall, I'd say 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Jordan Gabriel, Tim, another sterling performance on the right wing back role.
Yeah, I actually gave him my man of the match on the comms. Although having watched back, I think perhaps I was a bit harsh on Maxwell, because I think there's a few really, really good saves that Maxwell pulled out. But I think what Jordan showed today was that he can defend, and I think that's a very big positive for him. And I'll give him an 8.
Big Marv, Nick, a bit shaky today for my liking, but did okay.
Yeah, a little bit. He had the odd moment, didn't he? I think, was it his pass that it nearly resulted in an own goal? Maxwell had to chase across with it. Yeah, but he didn't have a poor game by any standard. But he's been great, hasn't he? He's probably one of our player of the season up to now. I think on today, I'd probably go 7 out of 10.
Jordan Thornley, Tim. Now I haven't got a graphic for him, such as his. Since Critchley said he's had his way, I didn't bother making one. I didn't think he'd play again, so you'll just have to imagine there's a picture of him there.
Yeah, I don't think he did himself any harm today. As I said, we've spoken about it quite a bit during the pod, so I won't go back through that. I think it was a solid 7, and so and that's a good score for somebody who hasn't had a lot of football.
James Husband, Nick. He was a bit. I didn't notice he was playing half the time.
No, Let me think. I think he did okay. I'm going to go 6 out of 10.
Luke Garbett, Tim.
Yeah, I think first half, if he played in the first half as he did, in the second half, he's in the first half, he might have got a 9. Because I thought in the first half he was at the heart of everything that we did that was good. He had a decent shot from a free kick from quite a long distance out. There was the little sort of intricate free kick which didn't come off because Medine didn't quite get the shot off, but you could see what they were trying to do. And he also had a pivotal role in the goal. But on balance out, I'm going to balance it out as an 8 because I think in the second half he wasn't quite as effective, and we didn't quite see quite as much of him. But I think there's a combination of factors for that. But an 8 out of 10. So well played, Luke.
MJ Williams, Nick, the League One leggy donkey, as someone described him as.
I think
passes are plenty in the second half.
I think you should do him because I know what you think of him as a player. So go on.
I think he did all right in the first half.
Didn't do he tired a bit, didn't he? But
yeah. It was very shaky in the second half, and I did notice plenty of misplaced passes. So the fact that he's not played for God knows how long, I would have given him.
I think he was knackered. He was knackered.
But if you're a professional footballer, sure, you've got to be at the peak. So 6 for me. Matty Virtue, Tim.
I thought, to be honest, I thought he was a bit average today.
Yeah. He's been a lot better.
I'm a big fan of his, but I didn't think we saw enough of him. I think the biggest compliment I can pay to Matt is I think we were a lot worse when he went off. But I think it's a 6. I want to keep these scorings real, and I think he was. It's a good 6, but only 6.
Guys, I'm going to have to interrupt with breaking news, yellow ticker tape. We've signed Kevin Stewart on an 18-month deal. Just trying to work, just scrolling through the messages now. Blackpool Football Club is pleased to announce the signing of
Chris has beat you
Kevin
to it.
Stewart, ex-Hull and Liverpool midfielder. Yeah. So there we go. Let's see how he does.
And is he? I wonder whether he's
hopefully the creative one.
The creative one that we need.
Look at this. All the viewers are. They're all up on there.
Yeah, but they're all on the phones. We not.
Cliff, you're a hard man to please, Cliff.
He's written up already.
I'm under orders to turn my phone off when I come on here, so I'm not getting the notifications.
There's no way you can give Virtue the same rating as MJ.
Why is Virtue that much better? And to be fair, I actually think MJ's scoring was a little bit generous. But I'm looking at other players. I'm looking at guys we're giving 7s to. I'm a fan of Virtue, but I just thought he was a bit anonymous today. He was a good 6, and I think MJ's probably at the other end.
Lawrence, is that the new player that you're talking about? Only 4 goal contributions,
presumably.
A man after my own heart, Josh, with that comment. All right, I'll change it to 5 then. How about that?
Yeah.
There you go.
I think keep it real, John. Keep it real.
I've lost my train of thought. I've lost my train of overlays. Matty Virtue, Ethan Robson, Nick. Have we done Ethan Robson?
No.
No. Who are we on?
Nick.
Robson. He did okay, and again, he's another one who hasn't had a lot of football, and I think he tired as the game went on, as a couple of others did. 6, 7. What am I going to go?
Do Tim's scale of scoring.
Yeah, all right, 6+.
Right, Tim, you've got the Gary Madine goal machine, and someone's asking in the chat, have we got a video clip of the goal going in? So we'll have to try and dig that out. Actually,
yeah,
get that on the channel.
Yeah, I thought again, I thought he led the line well today. He got stuck in. it wasn't exceptional, but he shows his quality. And we were far, far poorer when he departed. So I'm going to go. I think he just sneaks an 8 for the goal. But I was toying between 7 and 8, but I think he sneaks an 8. I'm going to be generous.
He didn't look happy when he was sort of trudging off as well, which is
Yeah.
so it's good to see. It's good to see that. I like seeing that. And he shouldn't have been happy. You just left him on Critchley. What you're playing at. Finally, Nick. Finally, Nick. Jerry Yates.
Yeah, a little bit quiet, but we keep talking, don't we, about him needing the service and something from midfield. And today it was a bit. There wasn't a lot there for him. Obviously, he'll run about all day long and put a shift in. Did a great little back heel to set Garber up for the cross that led to the goal. 7 out of 10.
I just like to add, I thought his off the ball work in the first half. There's a couple of players who came on as subs. You want to look at him and think, did I put as much effort in my 20-minute stint as he did in the first half? And even when things aren't going right for him, you'll never come off the pitch without having given 100%. And I think that's to his great credit.
Yeah.
Some players could learn a few lessons from Jerry Yates in that regard. This is good news from Bison Stewart as a defensive midfielder. Surely not. Surely not. Send him back. We don't want him. Send him back. I think Coach Critchley's just left another message. Yeah, there you go. He's telling us all to trust the pros. Eddie says Robson was awful. 6. Yeah. Right, Nick, man of the match.
I'm going to give it Gabriel. Like Tim, I would have probably said Garber if he'd have carried on the second half like he had the first half. But the thing that impressed me today, we know what he's like going forward, but the thing that impressed me today was his defending, because that's, we've talked about this a lot, haven't we, and said, Turton gives us more defensively, Gabriel gives us more going forward, and today he showed that he's a decent defender, so that's my man of the match.
I'm going for Maxwell again. I think that's 3 or 4 awards he's had from me, which is pretty impressive for a goalkeeper, and he's just going from strength to strength for me, and I feel completely confident with him in goal. Commands the area well, commands the defence, and nothing he could do for both goals, and always seems to make the right save and bats it away. So Maxi for me. Tim, your mom.
Yeah, I think it is between him and Gabriel who gets it. I gave it Gabriel in the live stream. I'm actually going to change my mind, and I'm going to change my mind because having seen the work that he did, I actually think when Marv tried to score an own goal, I thought his foot control there was
put him in the shit. He put him in the shit there.
Yeah. And he really could. Another keeper would have let that in, and he pulled off a couple of decent saves as well. And I thought he had a very, very solid game overall. Couldn't do anything, as Nick said earlier, with either goal. So, but literally, it could be either one of those two. Really, really impressed with Gabriel today. But I will just tip it towards Maxwell, because I think I don't think I've given Maxwell one before, but I'm going to today.
You've not given Maxwell one before.
Yeah. But it's what I could carry on film that, isn't it? Ooh, misses.
I think so. Right, next up, we've got the games coming thick and fast still. We've got Wigan away Tuesday night, and then we've got Burton at home. We won't go into predictions or anything like that, but to the pair of you, Nick first. 2 very winnable games, and if we want any realistic chance at hitting the playoffs as a minimum, we have to win these 2 games.
100%, yeah. Was it Curtis who said earlier on how many points we were from
6 off the drop?
Yeah. So we need to be taking 6 points from this if we're going to have any chance of troubling the playoffs. That's if it goes ahead, obviously, with what's happening with COVID. We will see.
Well, this is quite interesting. Stuart's ex-Swindon too, and his wiki says he's
why we've signed him.
I'll have a word with Rich Pullen from the Swindon pod. I know they all love us over there. But if he is a defensive midfielder, that's concerning, Tim, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit worrying that, because I don't know, unless we think one of Ward or Dougal's out for a while, it does beg, because we have got a proliferation of defensive midfielders, haven't we? We really have. We really need someone who's going to link the midfield and attack a bit better for me. But
what's Dobby up to these days?
Yeah, I know he's still scoring for Heart. Actually, I said Falkirk the other night.
Still scoring.
Heart of Midlothian he's playing for. But yeah, it's that 6 above the drop zone is a bit worrying, isn't it? But we've got we've got to win these games, and we had a great run in November and early December, and we've gone right off the boil. But the concern is, of course, if what we think is right, that a lot of these players are out, have got COVID, they're not going to be playing on Tuesday, and they probably aren't going to be playing on Saturday either.
As Jeff just said there, we need a KDH and we need a Ronan on loan.
If only, eh?
Right, gentlemen. I think we're all live streamed out today, aren't we? It's been an epic day, and it's been a real Herculean effort to get these shows together. Listeners, viewers, etc. We've had a lot of content go out today, and there's a lot of work gone to this. We'd really appreciate it if you haven't done also, just to click the like button if you're on YouTube. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're trying to get those numbers up. We've surpassed 500, so we're aiming for the stars now, and we're going for 1,000 subs on the channel. So I would greatly appreciate it if you just take your time now and just do that. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll be seeing you on Tuesday to report on the Wigan game. Hopefully, if it does go ahead, as people are saying, COVID may put paid to that, but hopefully it doesn't. And here's the 3 points on Tuesday. So thanks a lot, Tim. Bloody good work today. Well done.
Thanks a lot.
Well done to you, Nick. Good drinking of your booze.
Always a pleasure.
Finish the bottle. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks for downloading. All remains to be said is up the pool.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.
Ollie's already changed the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.